In the KNOVA podcast in a strange new lighting situation. I wonder how the lighting is going to look.
It's going to look great.
It's gonna look dramatic.
It'll look super professional.
In post, I can make it brighter.
Right. Well, we're back at In the KNOVA podcast, where the more you know, the more you can live. We're working on different catchphrases
every week.
in the process. So
just have a new. That'll be the thing. You'll just have a new one every week.
Yeah. I thought about that. I guess I'll write them down.
Probably vote on it and let us know in the comment section which one you like.
Well, let me know what catchphrase you want me to use this week on the pod. So back with Todd Wise. So Todd, you were apparently an entertaining figure in our community. The last podcast, yeah, people liked it.
I guess so. Did you look at any of the metrics of how long people listen? That'd be interesting.
I did not. I know that
they listened for like 20 minutes, and then this is too long. I'm dead.
No, I think a lot of people liked you're somewhat. That was kind of an intense podcast. We talked about a few different things. We got into some topics, and I think the line that stood out for me when I was like, "Oh, why do you like CrossFit?" And you're like, "It's a chance for human domination."
Yeah. I don't know. Well, okay, so we're doing the Dakota Games qualifier right now.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the 35 to 39 Masters, like the first time. None of the scores are up, but I've done the workouts. And my wife is judging me and stuff. And she's doing the workouts. And yeah, she's very fit. I just feel terrible. I'm not dominating anyone. I'm going to get last place.
No.
So, not a good showing, but I'm going to...
My guess is you're probably doing better than many.
Well, I don't know. We'll find out. I'll let you know how that goes.
We'll find out. Well, a lot has gone on. The Open happened.
Yep.
We are doing some stuff here at the gym, including you coming on kind of to our team a bit and teaching an Olympic lifting class.
Yes. Yep.
So Tuesday, Thursday, starting on June 22nd, 6:45 class.
Yep.
Explain to me kind of how, maybe a little bit of your Olympic lifting background, how you got to be so knowledgeable that we would entrust you so deeply. And then maybe go into the program a bit and
yeah, sure.
things you like to do and how it's going to look for the members when they start taking class.
Yeah, so I started Olympic weightlifting because of CrossFit, like most people. I wasn't very good at it. I was better at the gymnastics stuff. And I was in Silicon Valley, so the Bay Area. And so California Strength and Conditioning is very, very close. And we had a lot of athletes go up there, come back to the gym, like the affiliate, and they just do drop-in sessions and get one-on-one coaching. Because that's what Dave and them primarily do, other than coach the elite athletes for like the Olympics. They are a one-on-one gym. And then they also work with sports teams and everything else. So that was a resource that I used for a long time. Where it really started was, if anyone remembers John North, Attitude Nation. He had a heart attack. He's OG. So John North, Olympic weightlifter, has been to the Olympics. He was, I can't remember when. But either way, he had a cert and a seminar. So he came to the affiliate, and we did the John North seminar, which was really, really cool. Good experience. Like, he's more of a bang the bar kind of guy.
Bang the bar and do that kind of guy?
Yeah. Okay. So he would have the Superman pull, and then you would like launch the bar off your hips. So that was like my first exposure, and John North is really cool for those guys.
Is John North the guy that used to say you should be pissing blood after you bang this bar?
He might have been.
I think I might remember.
So him and Donnie Schenkel. So they were all Cal Strength Olympic weightlifting athletes at the time, and then doing their own stuff too. So him and Donnie Schenkel in the area, we learned a ton from him. And then my business partner from the second affiliate, Kaleo, he's the Masters weightlifting coach for Cal Strength. He and I kind of grew within weightlifting together. I also worked with Charles Shipman one-on-one through Cal Strength and for weightlifting. So I did that for, I think, 2 years, a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And I wanted to go from a 185 snatch to a 225 snatch. And I did that with him, and that was like in 2013, 2014. And then kind of just grew from there into more weightlifting.
What's your snatch now?
Right now, 250. All time is 275.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah. But I'm getting older now, so
I don't know
goes
that
down.
heavy anymore, but yeah. Anyway,
yeah, neither do I. So for CrossFit, I just keep it to where I feel like, I don't know, where I like being competitive. But yeah, you go watch 6 guys at the max snatch 300. Might as well just give up. But anyways, so back to the story. Worked with him, worked with a bunch of athletes, started a weightlifting club at Sundown CrossFit, which was the first affiliate. It was just for fun. We didn't really have anyone compete or anything. And then I left, sold the gym, was training out of my garage, training with a bunch of people. I had one girl, Joy Pham. She wanted to do weightlifting, Olympic weightlifting, and she was at Sundown, and that's how I knew her. So she would come over to the garage, and I just started coaching her weightlifting. And then she qualified for American Open, won her weight class in the C class though. So like there's A class, B class, C class. She won her weight in the C class. A class is like the top. So if people know like Maddie Rogers or like those types of people, that's A class. And then set there. So that was a lot of fun. Other than that, it was just weightlifting for people who competed in CrossFit who needed to do like a snatch, clean, and jerk event. And those of you guys who watch CrossFit, they do a pretty good job of like isolating the max lift. So anytime you're doing it, it's not necessarily, other than like ladders, it's a lot of times like get out there, you get 3 attempts. Different than Olympic weightlifting, obviously, in many, many respects, without the card counting and the coming off the stage and everything else. There's a lot in that that you got to learn as a coach, which was really fun experience with Joy, and then a couple other lifters after that. So my business partner in 2016, when we started CrossFit Curry, he did all the Olympic weightlifting, and I helped and supported, but really just kind of watched. And whenever he needed something at a meet, I would go and help. We held a ton of meets, and it was really cool. And through that, we had a ton of exposure with Wes Kitts and Cal Strength, Dave Spitz, and all of them, and just kind of learned by like helping, coaching, being in the environment. It was really cool. And then at one point, my wife did get coached by Wes Kitts, which is cool. And she's lifted in his weightlifting shoes because they wear the same size weightlifting shoe. Well, so this is a good story. We went to a one-on-one session, and she was trying to get better at weightlifting. And it's like, well, let's go to Cal Strength. So we went a lot to Cal Strength. And at the time, she worked for Lululemon, and Lululemon will pay for like sweat sessions, is what they call it. So we used the Lululemon sweat sessions to go get personal training at Cal Strength, which is nice. Yeah. I don't think we took advantage of the system. That's what the system was meant for. Yeah. I was also a Lululemon ambassador, so they paid for me as well. So free education and time and training is what they want you to do.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah. So we would drive up and go, and like the first time we went, Marissa would lift in nanos, and Wes was like, "What are you doing? Like, what is wrong with you?" And so he was like, your feet are kind of big. What size do you wear? And he had a pair of lifters. I think he got his first U.S. gold medal in them. Anyways, they were in the cabinet. He's like, "Here, try these on." And so she did like the whole training session with his like U.S. lifting shoes that he used. So she's pretty excited about that.
A chunk of your experience comes straight from real Olympic lifters, not necessarily CrossFitters doing Olympic lifting, because that's kind of how.
Yeah,
even good gyms.
I didn't even think about that until you just said that. I never put that together. Yeah. Oh, and we also did we held Diane Fu's seminar at my gym when she used to do it with Lester Ho. So Lester Ho and Diane Fu. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I have not coached a lot of weightlifting comparatively to people that I know in like the highest level. So like Kaleo, my business partner, is a phenomenal weightlifting coach, and it's so cool to be around him and see what he can do and like the magic that he's created. And right now I think he has 4 to 6 Masters champions in the U.S. and 2 youth champions. One of them's at the gym right now currently in San Jose. He's a phenomenal coach. And so I've learned a ton from him. And obviously him being there every day with the CrossFitters and myself and then the Olympic Weightlifting Club, like we all just kind of went around and learned a ton of stuff like within the gym. So
learn through experience. Learn from people better than you. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I think, that's actually how Kevin has learned most of the things, is through working with other people that are just pros in it. Like, he hasn't had a ton of formal education, but if you've been around, a lot of people listening to this probably know Kevin, or if you've been around Kevin a while, he gets it. Gets the nuances of how to explain everything from the gymnastic stuff to the weightlifting, but doesn't have a resume of accolades. I've had to do a lot of mine, like formally. I go to seminars, I do a lot of things, because I haven't spent, other than strongman and some powerlifting stuff, I haven't spent a lot of time with like experts in the field. Yeah. But that's really cool, though. I think that's a lot of times Kevin will say the same thing. It's like that's even the best way to learn. Take people that are experts in their field, take all the pieces that you can from those experts, and apply it to the game, sport, whatever you're playing.
Yeah, it is valuable. You also have to be open to criticism because there's a lot of times where like I would be coaching CrossFitters and Kaleo would come over and be like, well, they would be better if you did this. And in that moment, you're like, shut up. Like, because you're like, I'm coaching a CrossFitter and they don't need to do X, Y, Z because they're just trying to do this thing for CrossFit. So you do have to like, if you're going to go down the route of learning from somebody who knows what they're doing, like it's a natural knee-jerk reaction for anyone to be like, I'm doing this thing and you're stepping in right now, leave me alone. But it's so helpful if you can get over that. And like, I think that was something that I learned how to temper pretty quickly when you're dealing with people who are the best in the world, like at what they do. Mm-hmm. And it is impressive to see. Yeah, I guess I wouldn't trade it for the world, but watching Kaleo coach, watching Wes Kitts coach and Dave Spitz, and then the mindset around program design, especially from Dave. So
yeah, so
it's really interesting.
That leads into the next question I was going to ask you. So as you're doing all the programming for our Olympic lifting classes,
yep.
And we're kind of complementing our CrossFit program, or we'll be complementing our CrossFit program more or less accordingly.
Yeah.
So what is going this class going to look like 2 days a week? What should we be expecting as we come into class, get ready?
Yeah, so the idea is to help people become more proficient at Olympic weightlifting. I have no idea where the skill level of anyone is at. So the first week, we're going to go snatch, figure out power snatch and full snatch or squat snatch, whatever you want to call it. I like to call them power snatch and snatch because that's what they are. But in CrossFit, we use the word snatches. So squat snatch, full snatch, whatever you want to say, it's totally fine. You will pass below parallel in the squat. And then we'll do power clean, and then we'll move to clean and jerk. The reason for that, normally you wouldn't do all of that in one session, but it's obviously the class constraint, the 2 days a week constraint, and it'll help me give a feel for where everybody's at and understand like what we really need to work on. From there, because it is a CrossFit based idea, we're going to have a lot of variance in the movements. So a lot of hang, a lot of powers, a lot of squats and overheads to supplement for the snatch, and then a lot of complexes for the clean. So like cleans, power cleans to front squat, to clean to front squat, things like that. And then like cleans, double front squat, jerks, because the jerks are typically harder for most people. So if we can fatigue you before you go into the jerk, we can see what's happening. But if it was just Olympic weightlifting where people wanted to become Olympic weightlifters, it'd be very different. But we already found out from surveying people that it's to supplement the CrossFit, and the idea is to get you very, very proficient, clean up your movement and your mechanics so that you can take it to your Metcons or your strength days in class. So I do want to get people strong in the long term and better, but I really want them to move a lot better and then understand the finer minute pieces of snatch, clean, and jerk, like in the bar path, and how you can make a lot of errors in weightlifting, and that's why you don't make a lift. And it's like errors meaning like a quarter of an inch. Like if the bar is too far out in front, you're going to miss the lift. If it's too far back, it's going to go back. If you let the bar crash on you in cleans, like it's going to stuff you into the squat. So you have to have a much stronger squat in that moment in time than if you receive the bar at the exact moment when the bar weighs 0 pounds. So there's like a lot of things that we're going to go over in that, rather than just like, all right, we're going to increase everybody's 1RM. That would be nice, but ultimately the first go around of this that's not going to be the goal.
Yeah. So will you be kind of leading a warm up?
Yeah.
In the same traditional sense, kind of like a CrossFit class feel?
Yeah. So we don't want to change anything. We want it to feel the same, have the similar experience, and then be within the hour time. What I'm going to cover a lot of first is teaching people the importance of mobility and speed, because those are the two things that a lot of people can get quickly. Strength is hard to come by. So there's 3 things in weightlifting that you want: is mobility or flexibility, and speed, and then strength. And the low-hanging fruit is going to be mobility, flexibility, that anyone can work on and get better at. That's going to make you a better weightlifter. Then comes the speed. And sometimes people argue that speed's genetic, but I've gotten some really like quote unquote slow people really, really fast. And not just in weightlifting, but in CrossFit. So it's You can get faster.
The ceiling might be more genetic, but the
Yeah.
ability to improve is.
I just think that most people's potential is not even tapped.
Right.
Like they have so much more than they actually perceive themselves to have. And so that's kind of the two things that we're going to focus on first. And then from there, we'll talk about the time retention and figure out the appropriate cycles for the people that are in the class. And I really want to make it more geared towards the people who are coming regularly, because the people who are coming regularly are going to get the best results. And then we can fine tune the adaptations for that group. So let's say, just as an arbitrary example, 80% of people have a weak front squat. Well, we're going to focus on the clean and the front squat and accessory to that more in the program as we like discover those things, and I'll build it out appropriately so that we can do progressive overload. We won't move into like an undulating progression until we see proficiency in mechanics. And what an undulating progression would be is where you just have like a heavy day, a medium day, and a light day. And then you can see where you work on those things. So heavy days are highly neurological, explosive, and the 1RM, close to 1RMs. Medium days is your 80% to 90%. And then the speed days could be anywhere from 40 to 70%, depending on the athlete. And that's typically a higher volume. And you would undulate that from week to week, just so people get a deload. They don't fry their CNS. And that's kind of where we're going to go with things. But I would love for the membership and the community to drive what we're building so it fits them.
Cool. What do you got, Nina?
I'm just wondering, like, what about a member who might only be able to come like one night a week?
Yeah, so I talked to Kevin and Matt a little bit about what I call like the carousel. So the first week, Monday or Tuesday will be snatch, Thursday will be clean and jerk, and then Tuesday will be clean and jerk, and then Thursday will be snatch. That does help people if they can only come one day. It helps their schedule. It's hard sometimes, and we'll kind of play it by ear, because sometimes people will be like, oh, I came Tuesday, then I missed Thursday, but then I missed Tuesday and then I came Thursday. So there is that where you end up getting just the snatch days. Arguably, that's okay because you still need exposure to those things.
Sure.
It would be tracking that more over time. So if you're going 3 months and that's happening to you a lot, obviously you're getting more exposure to snatch, clean, and jerk than you are, or snatch, and then more exposure to the clean and jerk. And we kind of got to balance those out. So the idea is to keep it very equal so you can keep the adaptation and not skew one or the other. Typically, the skewing of one or the other happening anyways, because people are better at one than they are the other.
Yeah, for sure.
Unless you have somebody who's a monster and they're good at both.
That's going to be me. Just
yeah,
kidding.
you might. You never know.
Well, so I'd say my clean and jerk and snatch. Well, maybe you could give me feedback on this. I think that are balanced, like in my output and ability level.
Is your snatch 80% of your clean and jerk?
No.
Okay. What is it?
So a clean and jerk would be 305, and then the snatch is 240. So that's not as balanced. I mean, that seems.
Yeah. So rough numbers, like your snatch should be 80% of your best clean and jerk.
Well, that's
or higher.
That seems heavy. Okay, you're all right.
And then you're imbalanced the other way when your snatch is like 95% of your clean and jerk. So you can be imbalanced where it's under, and you can be imbalanced where it's too far over.
I also haven't hit those numbers in quite some time, so those are my best comparison. But class itself seems pretty sweet. I'm personally going to be probably attending all of them if I can.
Nice.
I'm excited. Just to spend the time lifting. I think a lot of the members, as we were talking about, it's just fun to lift, and then obviously if you're getting coached well, everything's better. And then I'm curious to just learn from it. We haven't done anything like this long time, years. We used to have another coach, Josh, who taught some different classes, some strength classes and stuff. This has to be five-ish years ago probably. But, so it'll be fun. It'll be interesting. Anyway, anything else on that you want people to know?
No, I think that's pretty good.
Cool.
I'm excited for the weightlifting class. Originally I came to Kevin to talk about doing either like something competitive or strength stuff just because I wanted to get into the community. We came in and did a lot of the qualifiers for the open, the quarterfinals, and then the team quarterfinals. And we just really liked the environment. And Kevin's always been super nice and helpful and like would reach out and be like, hey, what do you guys need? And then when I had masters come in to town to do and compete, and the two that qualified to the games, he was also helpful again in getting some things set up and, talking about maybe using the space and stuff. So it just kind of spoke to us, and we wanted to get involved.
You'll find time that the more you know him. Kevin's pretty. He's not there's not two faces. It's just a genuine way he is. He's a nice guy, and he is who he is. Yeah, that's obviously why I've partnered with him as long as I have. I wouldn't work for anyone else, really. I had a while before I knew Kevin where I was like, he got offered me like, hey, I'm, looking for coach. Would you like to come coach at our gym? And I was like, nah, because I was doing personal training. I had my own thing. And I was like, I don't want to work for anyone ever again. I had some bad experiences. Plus, I had other typical jobs that people work. And I just was like, I've been working for myself so long now. The idea of working for someone else seems like, I don't want to be told what to do. But then I wanted to learn. Like, I wanted to be around other coaches that were good. Cause I knew Kevin, because I'd been taking CrossFit classes at Nova, as a member. And I was like, oh, Kevin knows lots of stuff. He's super fit, blah, blah, blah. And then there's some other coaches at the time that were there that were pretty good. And I was like, I think maybe I do want to coach a little. Because then I can just be around these other coaches and learn stuff from them and help my clients. And then obviously got to know Kevin better and better. And I was like, okay, this is a dude I can work with, partner with, whatever you want to call it. And I'll attach my wagon to this shit. And then, it's growing from there and years. So it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that you kind of explained, because you also did that too. You were just really curious about training and what we were doing. And when we were in here, and you would talk to Harley, and you would ask questions, and then you ask questions of me, and then we're really excited to get me on the podcast, and Marissa, and you talked to those guys, and they had a really good experience with you on the podcast.
It was very fun. That was fun. I mean, they take people, unfortunately, in my experience, I've met a lot of coaches, personal trainers, what have you, that they got it figured out. And the last thing they want to hear from is another trainer's opinion on what they should be doing, which I can understand to a degree. Most time I look at it differently. I'm like, it's like if you see a millionaire, you don't want to I hate that guy for being rich. I want to find out how that guy became a millionaire so I can do it too. When I see other really great coaches, I'm like, this guy has coached games athletes, and I think I'm going to ask you about this in a bit. But or I've seen these people are clearly fit. I want to know how they got this. I think in one of our last conversations we were talking about the training thing. Classroom. And as soon as you told me about that, I was like, oh, boom, that night I signed up, and I've been trying to absorb that material since. But I think it's crazy when people go through life with that kind of approach of I'll figure it out myself, or I don't need anyone else to make it. I'm like, I don't know anyone who's ever been significantly successful on their own doing any occupation. I mean, you have to meet people. And especially if you want to learn. Yeah,
I mean, we go to school, and we learn from teachers, and we learn from books, and we do that for a long portion of our life. And then for us to come out, or maybe even not even have the experience, but at least go to primary school and high school, and you come out and then you don't want to learn, that's a weird thing to me. So when I came into this environment, I could feel that you guys wanted to learn. You like what you're doing. You're not going to change what you're doing, and it's working. But you're very open to ideas and suggestions. And that's when I came to Kevin with hey, what do you want to do? I would like to do something. I want to be part of the community. I want to help people. That's what I'm already doing. And now that COVID's, I don't know if it's over or not over, but either way, whatever. It's where it is right now.
Wait, can we say it? We beat COVID. No, too early? Okay.
I think it's too. I don't know. But it's not. That's something, I pay attention, but I rather focus on training and the CrossFit games.
COVID's dead. No rules.
Of course.
That's how I feel sometimes going to the stores. But anyways, it's my wife and I were talking, and we have people coming over to the house doing personal training and coaching, and they're general physical preparedness people. And then we have her family who come over, and it's funny. I started working, and he's 62 years old. This guy comes over, and he's the dad of one of the ladies that I coach. And it's I walked in the house and I wanted to cry, because his willingness to want to get better is so much greater than, and I don't want to put anything against them because they work really hard, but most of the games athletes I coach, because there's a lot more, I think people think are oh, the CrossFit games, there's so much on the line. It's so crazy. And it's no. When your life is on the line, that's a way bigger endeavor than competing at the CrossFit games or trying to get to the CrossFit games. And so that little piece like lights me up. And that was something that I was like, I have to get back to that. Like, even though I'm coaching athletes that want to compete in the sport of fitness and at the CrossFit Games, I need to stay like grounded and rooted in coaching people, or else I'm going to end up like just coaching those athletes and forget those moments and forget what it means to like do what we do and why we train and just develop the human body, because you want to survive and you want to live, and those are things that are way greater than like, oh, I went to the CrossFit Games. Although that's really cool too. I don't want.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
There's a dichotomy. I mean, there's layers.
Like, I love telling people that, oh yeah, I coach Shannon. She's a CrossFit Games athlete. Like it feels really good.
Of course,
but
it does.
it's like, I mean, it's like when someone buys a nice car and they're like, oh, this is my nice car, and it feels good. It's just
yeah. No, I mean, there's layers to it. Like, there's all sorts of types of people. But like, people always ask me, what do you do for a living? And sometimes, because the term personal trainer sounds, it almost doesn't seem to me like as valuable as
oh man,
what you
I
actually
thought that
do.
for a while.
And so I usually sometimes just say, I just help people get healthy, or I help people feel better about themselves for a living. It was like how I sum it, because sometimes I would have people that wouldn't necessarily make groundbreaking changes to their physique or their lifestyle, but they were like happier, healthier people.
Yeah.
They're more enjoyable to be around in the time from when I met them to 3-6 months later. And I was like, and they were so grateful and, praising of me. And I'm like, I don't really even do that much for you. I just kind of guide you through the same. I'm not giving out the secret prescription. I'm just giving you good guidance and treating you fair. And I realized how much that meant to people. Like, but then, so I understand the value of that. But then I also realized there's also more serious layers, like competitive, or people that are serious. Like, they want results, visual, tangible, measurable results. And so to give both, not only the touchy-feely, there's layers. So you've got to educate yourself on a more significant level. You've got to have all your, I's dotted, T's crossed in the different areas of the nutrition, coaching, the biomechanics, all the different things that go into training. And so I've tried to put the pieces together piece by piece. But, in the CrossFit community, you see in just one class all those ranges. The people that are there just for the community support, the people that are there for like, hey, I need to get healthy before I die soon. And people that are like, hey, I'm getting ready to do this competition. And in one class alone, you get all that. And sometimes if I'm having something going on in my life, just come in and teach a good class. Class goes well, people are having fun. I just leave feeling better. So I get what you say. There's kind of a dichotomy of like all the different types of people. They all feel good. Like helping people achieve their goals feels good for us.
Yeah.
It's a survival thing, right? The serotonin element in the brain. It's how. I'm
not sure.
So there's
educate us right now, because I don't know.
I can't remember if this is the exact thing. I believe serotonin functions like that. So you get serotonin in your brain from helping other people. You get dopamine from self.
I'm gonna look this up, by the way.
Pretty sure you can look it up.
Yeah.
So
but you're giving it to me
so
first.
like, if I help you and you have great result, it could be something like I cook dinner for you.
Well, we both win.
Yeah. So, but I'll get more of a serotonin release. If I cook some food for myself and eat it, I might get a dopamine release.
Okay.
So, but so this is a way that our cultures or
I
biology is built in.
I get where you're going with this. This is good. Keep going.
The way our primal brains, whatever, the culture built in our biology to help each other, to keep each other alive. So that's why, tribalism or whatever you want to call it, established. I am not explaining that as clearly, I don't think, as I should, but the point is that, it's like, that's why altruism works so well. People feel better, they feel healthier, happier by helping other people. Like achieving millions and millions of dollars and then being miserable, and then people that are just like donating their time at the food shelter.
You know what's interesting? Do you think when you make the food yourself, you get a dopamine effect because you're like egocentrical gratification the same way?
Well,
the same way when you get a like on Instagram, you get a dopamine effect versus like when you help somebody, you get a serotonin effect.
I'm not sure. I'm sure there's been research done.
That's
I was just
cool
thinking more in the sense of
I know. I'm just asking.
If I just eat, it feels good. But if I cook for you and you enjoy it, that makes me feel good to make you feel good. And so
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Do you think that's?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool. I'm gonna look into that.
Oh, man, I wish I could tell you who. I think I listened to this. I think it was on Lewis Howe's podcast, I believe. But I can't remember who was talking about that. Oh, now I feel bad. I don't remember.
No, it doesn't matter.
I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Anyway, all right, cool. So tell us, Tell us about some of your athletes that are at the games. I think that's interesting. You're going out to the games to coach them in a few weeks, right?
Yes, So the last week of July, first weekend in August, I have 2 Masters athletes and one who got all the information. She's on the outside, so she's like considered a bubble athlete. She's 23rd, but she went through the process that they went through already. So if there is a person not coming or they can't come because of COVID or they can't get a visa, whatever, they're going to fill her spot. So she'll be my 3rd Masters athlete that will qualify. And then this weekend I have an individual athlete, Nikki Patel, doing the Asia Online Qualifier. She finished 13th in the what is it called? Quarterfinals, and this is the semifinals. It's so confusing now.
Does she live in Asia?
She lives in Israel. So
Okay.
I coach her. She lives in Israel. She actually is a dual citizen for the U.S. And her parents live in California. So I've gotten to like work with her on site in person. She's a really cool individual, and luckily the workouts that for the online portion of the semifinals that CrossFit made up are really good for her. Very heavy gymnastics based workouts other than Gretel, and even Gretel's in her wheelhouse.
Gretel. So that's the 15 unbroken. No, that's the clean and jerk. With
10 rounds, 3 and 3. Yeah,
clean
3
jerk
clean and
burpees.
jerks, 3
I
bar
was
facing
thinking of
burpees.
what was the one with the unbroken? Gwen.
Oh yeah.
Gwen.
So the workouts look pretty good for her. She's tested them already. We compared those tests to the Lowlands throwdown, the German throwdown that just happened, and then she'll compete this weekend, and we'll see how it goes. So maybe I'll have an individual athlete at the CrossFit Games. She has a shot. She's been to the CrossFit Games in the past. She was the Israeli national champion, and I coached her in 2019. She's a phenomenal athlete. I really like coaching her.
How do you meet your clients like that?
So a lot of them, when I coached for brute strength training, that's how I met them and kind of made a name for myself. And they helped me out a ton, and super grateful for that experience. And Matt Bruce, the owner of Brute Strength, and then Michael Caju, who they were co-owners. Matt bought Mike out, and because Mike was going with working against gravity because Adi, his wife, and so they worked on that, and they just separated. And then Matt Bruce runs Brute Strength Training now, and they're just great. And I got a lot of, launched my career with them. And it's fun.
As a coach, do you?
And then now it's all referrals. So
Okay.
because my Masters athletes are doing so well, I have a lot more Masters athletes, which I love. I really like coaching Masters more than the individual kids, if you want to call them that. The 18 to 34-year-olds, I guess, is the appropriate
That's right.
term.
I'm just still a kid, young guy like myself.
Yeah. Well, in the
34
context,
years old, in my prime.
of competitive CrossFit, I mean, you never know where you're at in life. But anyways, so yeah, I have a ton now because they want to get the results that those individuals got. And I had 2 athletes this year move up a ton that finished 164th in their age groups. So yeah, it's fun, and they trust the process, and I try to do the best I can to get them as fit as they can be.
So I'll see if Kevin listens to this podcast, but
Kevin's got a lot of work to do.
yeah, let's push him. Let's push him.
Kevin, this is your test.
So I got this theory.
I can make him better. I watched him work out on the one qualifier workout or the quarterfinals, and he could do it. He likes endurance training too much. I can already tell without looking at his training logs and stuff.
His training logs are, for better or worse, the programming I've programmed for the gym mostly.
Yeah.
So Kevin, and myself, we just do the class.
But I'm
program.
saying his background is in endurance.
It's
and
endurance, yeah.
He likes that too much that so my wife is enduring also. So really to get Kevin to flip the coin and be able to do better, or if he even wants to do better, that's the other key.
He's right on the fence, and we just got to push him over the other side of the fence.
He has to become a strength power athlete. So we use the Garmin's a lot for my wife's training, and right now she's in an anaerobic training phase. So the goal is anytime I write a training session is that at the end, the Garmin spits out, oh, you got an anaerobic effect. I spent a lot of time understanding how the Garmin reads the heart rate, and it reads the training and everything else to build those CrossFit workouts to give her that effect. And so we would do something very similar to Kevin and see if he adapts.
Well, let's work towards getting there. I think it would be amazing. I think I don't even.
I mean, he was 25th after the first 2 workouts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I was saying, Kevin generally just does our gym programming, which I am.
He's got talent.
I am not the programmer that you are, I'm sure. So, especially on the competitive level.
Well,
so, I mean, with the right adaptions, I'm sure you could do it. So,
this is coming from a place of
if he needs to rest a little extra and sleep in a few, I might have to teach some more morning classes. But I'm willing to sacrifice to.
Well, that's what adaptation really is, though, right? It's just stress response and then an adequate recovery before the next stress response. Depending on whether or not the stress response was enough or not, that's where like the programming comes in. So I don't know anything about your programming, and I don't know anything about multitude of gyms programmings in the world, but I would argue that the dose response, the stress or the intention, whatever word people use when they're like, oh, the stimulus of the workout today, the stimulus is stress.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm going to talk about on our podcast that my wife and I are starting. But yeah, the stimulus is stress when you come into class. So anytime a coach says, hey, this is the intended stimulus, well, it's like, well, come on, Joker. The intended stimulus is to stress my body so I can get some adaptation. Now, is there a specific stimulus that was in mind when the workout was written? Meaning, is it going to give you like an anaerobic response, a threshold response, a VO2 max response, a base response, and then the last one being the tempo response? Whether or not you're going to get those things, you're not really going to know. And if you have 10 people in a class, you might get 10 different results because everybody's at a different spot in their fitness. Now, the beauty of CrossFit, because it is constantly varied, let's say Monday, 8 out of 10 people get a tempo response. Okay, that's cool. The next day you do something and they get anaerobic effect because you were lifting. And then the next day they get a VO2 max response. Well, now you look at that and they're balanced within their responders. So if you look
We're killing it, baby. We're killing it.
Well, that's hypothetical. I don't know if they're doing that or not. I'm just saying, typically CrossFit will do that.
I'd say that's if you were to break down a 6, 7, it goes through phases. Not every week's perfectly balanced, but
yeah. Well, here's the other argument. You won't know unless you start testing people.
Well,
and that means get people on heart rate monitors, and it's a whole other thing. Don't do that. I mean, you could do that. We've done it. It's really fun. Some people get bored of it, but
when I see the guy who can't run start running, that's when I know we're making improvements.
Yeah. I mean, on a deeper level of like the context of Kevin. So
no, I know.
My point to that was that the programming itself is giving him enough adaptation that he's able to do what he needs to do. Now, if we started looking into his deficiencies, and obviously one of them is strength, but you look at the workouts and start pulling out pieces, it's like, is it a volume tolerance issue? Is that why he's not able to go fast enough? Is it an aerobic issue? For him, probably not. Is it a mobility? I know he had trouble on the pistols, and he has some type of patella tendonitis or tendinosis that he's told me about.
It's because he did 60 extra pistols out of order.
Well, yeah. And then, so like you could start nitpicking all those qualifier workouts and then build a training program based on that, knowing though that the tests aren't going to be the same. You're looking for pieces and like just qualities, like, oh, someone's in trouble. Yeah. So you're looking for characteristics, like qualities of the athlete that you're going to drive up, right? So we're just trying to move, like we talked about this, you're just trying to move those bars up. So you got like the 10 general physical skills and you're trying to push them all up without affecting one or the other so greatly that then you now have another weakness.
Right.
So learning how to identify, then this is where like individualized one-on-one programming goes, because the group class is the base. And then if you really wanted to build into one-on-one, you'd start doing assessments and you would retest people, and because you're really looking at those dials. And like, say someone's endurance is really low, but their strength is really high. Well, now we got to turn up the endurance dial without affecting the strength dial. And that takes a specific type of program. But you would only do that if people had really specific goals. If their goal is to be healthy, fit, and well, and learn some new skills, CrossFit affiliate classes are 100% the way to go. And I do coach GPP people in that way. If they have a specific goal, like we have some people who are like, oh, I want to just do pull-ups, And so then we would build a progressive program so they would do pull-ups, because there's no sense in like being like, yeah, you'll get a pull-up, just keep coming to class. But then you only do pull-ups twice a month. It's like they're never going to get a pull-up if you do that. But that's one thing to keep in mind in general for all CrossFit athletes, whether it's this gym or any gym really, is that if you want a specific thing, you're definitely going to have to tell your coach and be very clear about that. And then they're going to have to follow up and make sure that they're very clear in how to get you there. Because you can do it in a CrossFit class. And if you got 5-10 minutes after class or before class and you want to do pull-ups, there are small progressions that you can work on. And
they hear it all the time. They're told, yeah, this is what you need to be working on.
But my point to that was like the frustration of like, I go to this CrossFit gym all the time and I want to do pull-ups. Well, yeah, you're going to a CrossFit gym. You should sign up for a one-on-one coach in the CrossFit space so you can do your CrossFit gym and you can learn what you want to do. And that's small pitch for like what I do, because that's kind of what I do, and that's how I make my money is one-on-one coaching in that way, but in the competitive space. But I do know that there are one-on-one coaches who are not competitive coaches that do also make their money in that way. And it's more than personal training, because I don't know. I don't want to say anything negative about personal training because I also used to personal train. But sometimes I feel like it's babysitting. But
sometimes a lot of my personal training clients now, their personalities don't always fit into CrossFit.
Difference.
Some of my personal training clients also do CrossFit too, but they just I think enjoy the one-on-one.
Yeah, no. So this is what jaded me in personal training, and I have pinpointed over time, is that typically, not all the time, typically personal training, the client comes in maybe 1 to 2 times a week. We already know that's not going to get anybody results.
Right.
At the time when I was at 24 Hour Fitness, I didn't know that. I was just selling. I was doing what I was told. They tell you to sell the personal training. You do that. You see them twice a week. You go home. That's why I got into CrossFit, because I wasn't making an impact in their health and wellness. So that's where I have a problem with personal training because of my experience and what I saw. Could it be good? Yes. And here's how it could be good. If they don't do this, to my knowledge, it might have changed in the last 10 years that I've been doing CrossFit in the personal training space. I don't know. If it hasn't, it's not a great thing. If they come and see you twice a week, but then you're giving them 3 to 4 days a week of training that's developed on when you see them, and when they're in with you twice a week, you're teaching them new skills. You're looking at functional power thresholds. You're seeing if they're moving better, what their PRs are. You're going over the other training pieces throughout that week and checking in with them and doing a consult. And then you are doing a workout to see where they're at and if they're progressing, and then sharpen their skills. That would be a better model of personal training. But I didn't do that. And I know that my colleagues at 24 Hour Fitness also did not do that. And I only thought about that.
In my business, when I train, case by case, some people, they're like, hey, I work out 3 days a week with you, and that's what I do to work out. And I respect, and they're like, I'm not going to do other stuff. And I'm just like, okay.
Well, that's and then
I have people that come in once a week, and we have certain goals that we're working on. Like we're working through progressions on certain movements, certain capacities. And it's like every week we're almost doing versions of the same thing. Like but that's what that person wants.
Right, but that's also how you get better.
That are like, hey, I want to learn to snatch. Can you teach me snatches? I'm like, yeah. So we learned snatches for a while. Maybe they go back and they're not across the classes.
Yeah, so that's very different than what I was describing. Yeah, no, that's.
And then I have people that are old and they like that TLC. Some of it we use machines. They're doing very simple stuff. They're just preserving their 79-year-old body,
that could be another pitch for Kevin, is doing like I don't know what other gyms called it, but one gym called it like the silver sneakers class. Oh, yeah. That'd be cool.
Silver sneakers is it's
was it like a discount?
Insurance
discount.
It's a legit
insurance will
program,
cover. Yeah.
But you could do that here.
Yeah,
Kevin.
That's a very good point. With Kevin?
No, Kevin could. I'm just saying.
Kevin could take silver sneakers.
If you're listening to this, you could do.
You're a master's athlete now. You can use silver sneakers.
No, you could coach them.
No, I know what you're saying.
Help the people.
All right, Todd. So the only question remains is when you come to do some CrossFit classes. I can teach you how to do what you already do, but with more sarcasm. And I don't think you get that on your day.
I mean, I like taking class.
It's very entertaining. I can vouch for that.
Well, yeah, because I was doing like the Dakota Games, and then we went to San Diego. So like our schedule just hasn't allowed it. And then the only time we were really here was for Murph, but then we had a bunch of family coming over to do Murph, which was nice because we're trying to get them to be more fit.
That's awesome.
And then it's tough too because like we're spoiled in the fact that like we over the years collected pieces of equipment. So like I have a 400 square foot CrossFit gym at my house.
I've seen.
But yeah, I mean those are the deterrents.
Yeah, it's all right.
But I do need to come on Saturday and work out because I do like what I call a send it Saturday. So because I get programming
You want
from.
to send it on Saturday?
Yeah,
You wanna
so I
know
get
what workout is?
programming from Training Think Tank because the coaches need coaches. So I do the Training Think Tank program and the coaching through Mike McGoldrick and stuff. So then it's the design.
Oh, you're doing Mary on Saturday?
No, but I hate Mary. I will not come to that. Last time I did that, I threw up. I don't. It's
Oh,
so terrible.
goody.
And my goal was like, to do it because it's the interval one.
No, that's Barbara.
Oh, Barbara, never mind.
Mary's five.
Oh, Mary's good. I'll come do. Yeah, I'll come do Mary. That's my jam. Sorry, Barbara is. Yeah, no, I'll come do Mary. I like that.
Yeah. Mary's enjoyable.
That's
the
Saturday?
sets are small enough. Yeah.
All right, I'll be here.
See you
I've
there.
got my wife Emily's coaching. Hopefully she does a good job now.
Well, I don't know.
You better help Todd get fitter.
Fine.
You better help Todd get fitter. I'm gonna ask.
No, man, the community gets.
I'm just messing. All right. So next Tuesday, first OLY
Yep.
class, right? Yep.
Yeah.
All right. 6:45. I'll be there.
Cool.
Anything else, man? This was a great conversation.
No, I think we got it from the weeds, so I apologize for that.
Wait, what's
That
it?
was
I
good.
think we got in the weeds a little bit.
Oh, I thought you said you got it from the weed, and I was like,
No,
I
no,
didn't
no,
realize we smoked.
no.
Seems counterproductive, but all right.
No.
All righty. Well, awesome. See you soon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks
so
again.
much.
All right.
Boom. And we're done.
Yeah.